Touchdown Commanders! We hope to be hearing that a lot in the coming season, but you won't hear it from me, but you will hear it from our special guest coming up if you attend any game at FedEx this season. We're going to talk to Mark Fratto, your game day voice of the Washington Commanders, next.
Let's go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Command This. It's September 7th. We are not live streaming this week, but we are joined, like Phil said, by a fantastic special guest, Mr. Mark Fratto, the new voice of the Washington Commanders. Let's give him a round of applause.
Guys, thanks for the warm welcome. Thanks for having me in tonight. This whole week feels like Christmas Eve, right? So it's really a privilege to be with you guys. I know you guys are fired up for the home opener. I know I'm fired up for the home opener. And, hopefully this will be something we can commemorate, we can listen back to and remember this time, before we're off to a new era of Washington Commanders football. So real honor to join you guys. Appreciate you guys bringing the rookie announcer onto your show so early here.
We could not miss the opportunity. I mean, I don't even know how I came upon your Twitter. It just came up on my feed, and I saw you just posting and I'm like, we have a new voice for I got to follow him right away. I wasn't expecting a follow back. That was awesome, and the rest is history. So we are excited to have you as part of the family. This is great. As you said, this is a new era for all of us with the rebrand, the new team name, the new ownership, new voice of the team during the game at FedEx Field. It's just a good time to be a fan. And honestly, Mark, we haven't felt this way for a long time. It's just been kind of a weird gray cloud over the franchise, and it feels like it's just gone and we can get back to football, which is kind of rare for us.
So, yeah, that's what it seems like when you connect with fans on Twitter, or you listen to any of the fan podcasts or even any of the media podcasts. I think everybody does a nice job of kind of giving a current state of the union, and it's such a I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm really fired up. I'm really excited for a lot of different reasons, but certainly to join the franchise at this point in time, when it seems like so much optimism is there and so much momentum is already building. It's been a really great thing for me the last couple of weeks since coming on board officially and kind of going through training camp, or announcer training camp, like I've been calling it, and getting behind the microphones for some rehearsals and some sound tests, and going out to training camp and seeing the fellas play and all that stuff, and kind of helping lock in some names and numbers for me and the way that my caveman brain works. Making sure I can kind of get some momentum behind my kind of acclimating process and all that. And then the preseason games, I mean, really exciting, really a lot of fun, really great crowd so far. And that new sound system, as part of the improvements that they made to FedEx Field, I mean, I'm not sure if you guys would notice this without looking, but there's 50 new speakers around the halo, kind of hanging off the 400 level, like around kind of like the Ring of Honor, that area and stuff. So when I'm in there, even when I'm by myself, I feel like Metallica. Like, I feel like I sound like Metallica. So that gets me kind of juiced up. And then, to see, 60,000 or whatever that full house is going to look like on Sunday. I mean, I'm too excited. Like I said, this whole week's like Christmas Eve. And I know so many Commanders fans are feeling that as well.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, let's get right into it. But first and foremost, I was at the game with my family, the Bengals game 2 weeks ago.
All right.
You were in the booth calling the game?
I was there.
And what really, full transparency, what made me jump out to reach out to you, as a fan, I can honestly admit, I know him as Milo Eifler, one of our linebackers. You pronounced his name properly, Milo
Eifler. No, you got
Milo Eifler. I always thought it was Milo Eifler, and I was like, hold up, and I had to dig into it, and I'm like, man, all right, Mark, this is why we want to get the inside track, because that I didn't know that as a fan. His name was Milo. I thought it was Milo just because of traditional spelling. So I thought that was
Well,
pretty cool.
So one of the things that hopefully will help me, like I said, get acclimated and get acclimated the right way is I'm a new Commanders fan, so I'm learning everything for the first time. I'm learning Milo Eifler, like I'm learning, no, not really like learning Terry McLaurin, but there's certainly some some names that I'm kind of taking everything in for the first time. So I don't hopefully I don't have any bad habits yet. Hopefully all the habits that I'm forming will be good habits, and will carry all of us to having a great, entertaining, certainly loud and up-tempo, intense, high-energy game day experience. That's what I'm hoping for.
Who were you a fan of before?
So I grew up in New York. I grew up a New York fan in all sports, but this is, as you guys know, and hopefully everybody will get to know, this is not my first stint in the DMV. This is not my first time in Maryland. I was here from 99 to 05 as a member of Gary Williams' staff and as a communications guy in Maryland athletics. So you can kind of see some of the stuff in my office. We got some ACC championship commemorative programs and photo that the team signed my pieces of the net. You can kind of see over my shoulders, and then up at the top here's my national championship press pass credential, my pin, my program, and on the other side, the flip side of this camera on my iPad here, I was fortunate to be around Maryland at a really great time and to be a small part of something so big. So I have some championship rings kind of on the other side of the camera here, the ACC title in 04. Before that, 2 Final Fours, which I was privileged to go with the Terrapins with Hall of Fame coach Gary Williams and all those great student athlete basketball players. I saw Andre Collins actually today. I was out on the Eastern Shore as part of our streaming and broadcast business for my now 10-year-old media startup. And I saw Andre Collins out there. So right behind the camera, I got national championship ring, ACC championship ring. I have a field hockey ring from 2001. Oh, wow. And then I was lucky to get some pro rings, Major League Soccer with New York City Football Club. I've been the announcer there from wire to wire, from the first game in 2015 still to last weekend. I was up there at Yankee Stadium doing soccer. And the Brooklyn Cyclones is my minor league baseball team. We're the originators of Seinfeld Night and a bunch of other fun promotions that kind of virally spread throughout the country. And we got a ring in 2019. So very privileged to be around some successful teams outside of Maryland and Washington and inside of Maryland and Washington. And, so I've followed the Commanders. I think it's fair to say, followed the NFL team in Washington since I arrived in 1999. We were competing for column inches and radio mentions and TV slots at the time with the Terps, but I've certainly been around the franchise and been following for a very, very long time. It's kind of funny. I do NASCAR at Pocono in Pennsylvania. So I think maybe a week or two before the news broke that I was coming, that I was going to join the Commanders as the in-stadium voice, I was out there on the track at Pocono announcing Ty Gibbs, Joe Gibbs' grandson. So wow. I didn't see Coach that day. I didn't see him that day, and I didn't get a chance to tell him my secret, which I was holding on. I think it's still at that point at Pocono a couple month or two ago. But that it was just kind of like a funny thing when I'm running down the list of starts in that NASCAR race, and who do I come across? Right, of course, Joe Gibbs Racing, 3 cars, and Ty Gibbs was driving that day.
I'm sure that having that news in the back of your mind, Ty's name just got a little extra mustard on it, didn't it?
Might have given a little bit more punch. Might have given a little extra energy. But yeah, I mean, it's been a fun process, kind of getting to know the team, getting to know the players, getting to know fans. Just not that we're like exchanging horoscopes and texting each other or anything like that, but just kind of getting to know some stories and getting to know who people were. I've been the announcer for the Washington Wizards. This will be my 5th season. Obviously, I've been the announcer for the Commanders for just a couple of weeks, with 2 preseason games under my belt. It matters for real on Sunday. But inevitably what I find is, I end up kind of gravitating to the teams that I'm working with. And it's not, I don't think it's something that you'd say like, like it's like a sellout move. Like I think, the closer that you are with a team, the more you get to know the people, right? The more you get to understand their stories and their backgrounds. And there's always things that kind of get you hooked, right? Get you interested. Oh, look at that. See, there's your Wizards, a lot of Wizards memorabilia on the shelves behind you too. On the shelves behind me, I guess.
I'm a Knicks
Not
fan.
in front of me.
So.
Yeah.
Dev is our lonely Knicks fan.
I grew up a Knicks fan, and I've been a Knicks fan for a long, long time. But I think and I'm still a Knicks fan a little bit, But over my 5 seasons with the Wizards, I've gotten to know their stories. I've gotten to know the people that work there. Obviously, like I care a great deal. Steve, I'm not sure Phil or Dev. I know Dev, you live out of town, but if you guys have been to a preseason game, I mean, I hope that the genuine excitement and enthusiasm and the passion that I have for my craft and for being there on game day and being a small part of something that so many people care about so much. I hope that comes out and across as authentic. The energy's real, the passion's real, all that stuff's real. So as I get to know this team more, and as I get to kind of put my arms around the fan base and get to spend more time with you guys, I mean, how could you not care for this,
Sure.
this franchise? How could you not gravitate to this fan base? Everybody, I mean, this fan base deserves so many great things. And I hope, only the best for all of us here, in the coming weeks and months and certainly in the coming years.
Well, if you're the type of person that's going to feed off energy, this is you've arrived at the right time, because the energy level in this fan base is at a spot I haven't seen since. I mean, probably RG3. I was going to say 2015, but I don't even think that pales to what
different level already, right? So my wife is she's a Commanders fan. She's from Northern Virginia, Fairfax area. One of my good friends from college, even though we both went to college way upstate in New York. He lives in Virginia Beach now. He's a huge fan. So in addition to listening to podcasts like yours and like Mitch Tischler, my old student at the University of Maryland, and JP Finley, and Standing Ramoni and Keim and a bunch of the other podcasts. Talking to my friend Brian Benz in Virginia Beach, who's a huge fan, lifelong fan of this franchise. My wife, who has a history of rooting for this team. I mean, that's gotten me into this and kind of, got me ready, or at least as ready as I am right now, a couple nights before the first game. And if I'm not ready, I'm definitely excited. And it's because of the contributions of Kristen Fratto, of Brian Benz, of all you guys that have reached out over, Twitter or other forms of social media, and, or put yourselves out there on the podcast. You guys spend time and effort and energy and, probably definitely some money to show how much you care about this team. And that's beyond tickets, that's beyond gear. I mean, you guys are spending hours on a, weeknight and weekends breaking down stuff, breaking down film, giving opinions, showing how much, putting a lot of, this is not this particular discipline, podcasting, or what you guys are doing here. I mean, you bare your soul, right, for a whole bunch of people to see. You let your feelings out. I bet it's cathartic, and I bet it's kind of like therapy in a way. But I mean, you guys are risking a part of yourselves by putting your fandom out there, putting it out in front for everybody to see. So if you're me and you're a rookie, admittedly, like, how can you not love that? How can you not respect that? So many of you guys, everybody cares so much. And like Phil, like you were saying, like, it seems like this is a preseason peak that not a lot of fans of this, at least in this generation, have seen before. And that to me is really exciting. That makes me want to do a great job. That makes me want to be as up tempo and high energy as possible. That because I feel it from you guys, and I want you guys to feel it through me. And I want to take whatever you guys are bringing, and you guys are going to bring me up to another level, and then I'm going to hopefully bring you to another level, and we'll all do it together and have a great time on Sundays. How great is
sharpens
that?
iron. That's the mantra. I love that. Iron sharpens iron. Well, you talked about doing some Wizard stuff earlier, and correct me if I'm wrong. You were in NBA 2K22 as the voice of the Wizards, correct?
So a couple years ago, they started putting all of us arena voices into NBA 2K. So I think I've done 3 or maybe 4 of them.
I live
at
Play
this
24.
point. Yeah, there you go. So if you're going to play 24 and you're going to play a game either as the road team in Washington or as the Wizards, you're going to hear me for the entirety of your game. So they put all of us, if you play a game at the Garden, Dev, you're going to hear Mike Wally, the guy, Carmelo Anthony, you're going to hear that voice. You're going to hear Lawrence Tanter out in LA. Lawrence is old school announcer. So he kind of gives you like, he's reading the news like Walter Cronkite. So you'll hear him say like LeBron James, something like that. So all of us arena voices are in there. Maybe there's a football version in the future. I don't know. I'm listening.
That's
my
just
DMs
so
are
cool.
open.
I do want to do
EA, do you hear this?
a quick share because I did do this as part of my research. So I do want to play this very quickly and just give everyone a tiny piece of what we're in store for you. This is not, you're not just some guy, you know what I mean? Like, you are established, you are reputable, and who else can say one of their commentators has been in the game?
Family, it's game time.
That's pretty cool.
I'm Mark Fratto. I'm the announcer for your Washington Wizards. You're going to hear me call Wizards games on NBA 2K22. At guard, 6'3", number 3, Bradley Beal.
That's just awesome, Mark. I just wanted to share that with everyone because I just thought that was the coolest thing ever for you to be involved in that. Now we get you, and I hope there's a Madden version of that same thing. So
2K Sports does amazing things. I actually don't know who makes the football game, but we'll find out. Like I said, my DMs are open.
EA.
But okay. Well, I think they're a rival probably at 2K. But
They have a generic voice that does every one of their like in the stadiums.
So it might be a generic voice, or it might be Alan Roach who does.
No, I mean not like a generic person. Because they got one person does everybody. I don't think it's team specific.
Gotcha. Yeah, one person all the way across the way. So one quick thing on NBA 2K. So I kept a PS5 version. I'm looking at it right now under plastic because I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. The Fratto brothers live in this house right here. And I know right now, because they're 5 and 2, they think I'm cool, or at least they think I'm big and loud and stuff like that. Kind of funny when I do funny voices for them. And we read stories and stuff like that, which is it's a good time. But someday they will not think I'm cool. I know this is coming, right? I know this is going to happen. And that will be the day that I bust out the video game. And I'm like, hey guys, how about this? See, you think your old man might be a little bit cool now? But on the football game, maybe it is Alan Roach, other than Michael Buffer, let's get ready. So Alan Roach does the Super Bowl, does the Olympics, and he does the Minnesota Vikings, the Colorado Avalanche. And it's kind of funny. My Commanders director, his name is Darius Smith. He's a super, super awesome guy, but he comes from Minnesota. So he's got to deal with me after many years of dealing with Alan Roach, the voice of the Super Bowl and all that. My director at the Wizards is also new. My prior director went to the Miami Dolphins, Jess DeVito. She's awesome. So Taylor is new, and she seems awesome. I met her last week, and she comes from the Denver Nuggets. So she did like the stage managing and stuff like that at the Denver Nuggets and came to the Wizards to be the director. She also was the director for the MLS team out there, the Colorado Avalanche. Mm-hmm. Guess who the announcer is for the Colorado Avalanche? The voice of the Super Bowl, the Olympics and all that, Alan Roach. So I said to both of these guys, I was like, well, you're going to be disappointed. I'll tell you, you are going down. Your stock is going way down. But hopefully we're going to have a good time. I mean, they're both excellent. They're both really organized. They're both very detail oriented and really enthusiastic and passionate and all that stuff too. So I'm excited for all that stuff to come out for DC fans, for both franchises. It's going to be cool. We're going to do some cool stuff. And because these guys are, they're new in the market, they're going to do stuff that you guys haven't seen before, so hopefully they're going to bring some best practices from different places and bring it to here, and while still, and this is something that's really important to me, because this is one of the prestige franchises in all of sports, right? Coach Gibbs says the number one in all of sports. But I want to honor the traditions. Like, I'm not looking to completely wipe the deck. I'm looking to do things that you guys like and that you guys have come to like. So that's why I know you guys like Mark Kessler, who's, a great guy. He wrote a great social media post when he was leaving and I was coming in, wishing me well, and kind of tipping his cap to the fans for all the support that he got. I know you guys like the first down Washington. I know you guys like that. So, why change it? If it's working and you guys get excited, I mean, I've seen it in 2 preseason games. Everybody gets up, everybody moves the chains, everybody, says it with me. I mean, that's something that you want to continue. That's something that you want to continue to do. And then, of course, with like my spin on it, or my energy, or, whatever I'm going to bring to it. So, honoring the tradition, and also kind of trying to do some new stuff and keep everybody's Sundays really, really fun and exciting, and as happy as we can for as long as we can. Right, guys?
Cannot wait. Phil and I will be there Sunday. We are excited, especially hear your voice in conjunction with the guys on the field. But real quickly, can you just tell us how you became, you kind of gave us your background in history, but how did you fall in line to become the voice of the Commanders at FedEx Field?
It kind of happened quickly. So as I mentioned, I was with Maryland for all those years. Then I went to St. John's University for 9 years in New York as the director of communications. So I kind of worked behind the scenes for a long time, kind of helping the media, helping reporters, helping broadcasters get ready for their game days and covering the team, in between and all around the year. So on New Year's Day of this year, the Commanders played the Cleveland Browns. New Year's Day 2023, playoffs on the line, that whole thing. I filled in for a guy in the press box that announces all the official stats, yardages, downs, distances, gains, losses. I did the press box PA, or the internal PA as we call it. And I filled in. The guy had COVID and he missed his first game in 12 years. And I got to sit in for him and be a sub, right? I got to be, got to just be a fill-in for the day. But over the course of the day, you have to work with different areas of the team very closely, communications and PR and marketing. So you have to make sure in the press box, you don't want to be an imposter, right? Especially filling in for somebody that hasn't missed a game in 12 years. So I filled in for my friend Andy, and I was able to announce on that day, and I was able to kind of, meet some people on that day. And then when they decided they were going to make a change, they reached out, they called up and they said, hey, you did a great job on the day that you filled in. Would you be in? But we know the stadium announcing is really your thing, out with the people, right? Rattling all those speakers, So they said, would you have any interest? So I had a Zoom interview, just like a lot of people have, right? Since 2020 and beyond, we're all doing these. So kind of getting to know you with kind of the big boss, Joey Colby Begovich, and I, we sat here.
Love him.
Yeah, Joey's great, unbelievable. I saw him today. So the same backdrop with all my Maryland stuff and other team stuff and artwork from the Fratto brothers in the background. So we got to know each other over the course of a Zoom interview. They brought me in to do some kind of like some live reads and give some play calls off of a laptop with silence and nobody in the stands. So I did that. We had a great time for kind of an hour long audition or live test or whatever you want to call it. I think I got some standing ovations from some steam fitters that were working in the stadium and some guys that were fixing the seats and stuff like that. But nobody in the building and just kind of doing that. And they took a video of that and obviously got the audio, and they circulated it to different people in football operations and different people on the business side. And they called and made an offer, just a couple weeks before the Ravens on Monday night. And they said, hey, we want to offer you this. And, here are the details. And we talked about some details. And then they said, all right, cool. We're going to drop you into the deep end of the pool. Monday Night Football, national TV against our geographic local rival. And
no pressure.
And you're taking over for a guy that's revered, right? A guy that was admired and a guy that was here for nearly a quarter century, 23 years. So I said, all right, can't wait. Let's do it. From there, I went to training camp. I went to 4 days of training camp. I went to the 2 in Baltimore and I went to 2 in Ashburn. And I wanted to take the names and the numbers that I saw on paper and all the players that you guys talk about in your podcast and the other podcasts and all the tweets that I've read and all the articles and stuff like that I've read. And I wanted it to crystallize for me. I wanted to really get to learn the team, get to, see the players run plays, get to see kind of like what we're dealing with. and then get ready for a 90-man roster in the preseason, right? So a lot more names and numbers than we'll see on Sunday. So I wanted to do that because, again, I didn't want to jump in the booth and come off to all you guys that care so much about this franchise as anything but prepared, authentic, and ready to go, because you guys deserve great game days. You guys deserve great Sundays. The first one's coming up, so I wanted to get there. I wanted to come out on that Monday night, and I wanted to knock it out. And I wanted to, shake those speakers. I wanted to shake you guys and, help you guys, all the positive things, all the great hopeful things that you guys are feeling going into the season. I wanted to just take that, ride it, elevate it, do whatever I could do to keep that juice going for all of you. And man, it's been a fun couple of weeks. The Ravens game was awesome. The Cincinnati game was awesome. And I'm just I couldn't be more fired up or ready for Sunday. Just ready to go.
Yeah, you kind of gave us. I was going to ask you what are your been impressions so far, but I think you just kind of nailed it. So
so the Monday Night Football game, right? I know it's not the starters playing starters, but at the end of the game, you got to do a 2-minute drill and a 49-yard field goal to win it on national TV and snap a 24 game win streak for the
from the Ravens. That's right.
Yeah,
I think the field goal was like the what's the names was turned the wrong way, and one of the field goals, the ball rolled back to Tressway.
Oh yeah.
Like a bunch of crazy stuff happened.
Yeah, but your main man Tressway was able to corral that, right?
Yeah.
Laces out.
Laces out, Dan.
And Joey Sly was able to knock that through, all those different times and come through 49 yards. I mean, that was probably the last thing, it's the first preseason game. Those guys are probably sitting on the sideline like, well, we're probably done for the night, right?
Nope.
Yeah, catch you guys in the practice field tomorrow, maybe halfway down the tunnel. Hey, come back and knock this through half the field, see if we can bury this. But no, I mean, that was awesome. How great was that?
Well, as you know, Mark, that game was a big deal. People might say it's just preseason, but on the day one of the joint training practice, Mark Andrews picked up Danny Johnson, slammed him to the ground. He tore his shoulder. So there was a little bit of bad blood brewing. I went to the second day of training camp up at the Ravens facility, which was pretty awesome. But so a little bit of bad blood there. And so after that first touchdown, if you remember, who was it? Nick Gates coming in out of left field and just boom, boulder.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit of payback.
There was that happening, and then there was a gritty, I think, 15 feet behind
Sam Cosby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cosby.
I was up in the booth doing more of the gritty. Like I was more of that mindset, that mentality at that moment in time.
That was fantastic. I did my kids we were at that game, and my kids did the gritty in the concourse, and Sam Cosby actually acknowledged the tweet, quote tweeted it, and said, "Oh, your kids have better move than me." So yeah, love Sam Cosby. He's a fan favorite. But
that list is long but distinguished. But Sam Cosby's he's very good at a lot of things. How old are your kids, Steve?
4, 6, and 8. 3 boys. 4, 6, and 8. Big Commanders fans. So we're trying to raise them right.
My guys have, they have all the gear. They have, they're both of them. They're, again, 5 and 2, and each one of them has a burgundy and a visor and a white visor. Each one. I had to come back from a rehearsal today with another white Commanders visor.
Nice.
And a little Major Tutty. We got a little Major Tutty action going on upstairs right
Tutty.
now too. So, yeah, for sure. So we got the burgundy, we got the white, we got all the visor combinations covered in this house. If anybody wants to borrow one, just hit me up on Twitter. We'll always have some extras. I'll bring it to purple F. I'll bring it to green. I'll bring it wherever you guys need it. Just give it back to me. Put it on my car at the end of the game. And you want to borrow a visor? We got a lot. Got plenty.
So
I'm not a Tutty fan.
I'm glad we brought up the Gates hit. And
it's the generic T-shirt for me. It's like, dude, they look like they made that on Etsy or something. I don't know. It's weird. He looks lame, man. It's like if all the mascots got in a fight, I feel like Tutty would lose.
Yeah, but
I've got a battle royal of all the mascots.
Now, Tutty and I are just getting to know each other, right? So I'm not going to judge him. I hope he doesn't judge me yet, right? We're just kind of feeling each other out. But Dev, one of the things that you missed out of town is during the Bengals game, there was a mascot football game at halftime.
The Presidents.
The Presidents are like 9 feet tall. They're enormous. But G Wiz and Tutty brought it that game. If you saw Tutty play and if you saw G Wiz play that game, you would have been on a fanatics.com ordering a Tutty t-shirt or a G Wiz t-shirt the next day. Dev, I'm telling you, watch back the film. Check G-Wiz's Instagram. He's got some clips on there. I'm sure there was some, posted by some media sources too. Dev, just give Tutty a chance, baby. I will if you will. I promise to if you will. No,
If I had to choose
revisit.
between which one
Open your heart.
like Tutty or Cosby.
Open your heart to
Nah.
Tutty. Well,
Look, it's taken
you have
us
to
2
pick. You
years.
have to choose.
It's taken us 2 years to get him to turn around on Cosby. So we're working on Tutty.
Got you. There's room in your heart, Dev, for both Tutty and Cosby. There's room in your heart. I know it.
It's not so much Cosby. It's so much we never second rounders never work out here. You'll figure that out. Never work out. Like 10, 15 years down the road, like going back, they never work out. So
well, what about who was their second rounder this year? Quan Martin, right?
Right.
Yeah, so Quan Martin had a preseason interception. I know it was preseason, but that was pretty great. So far, I'm on board. Plus, the man's first name is Jartavius. How cool is that?
That is
right.
I mean, my name is Sean Deveron. I mean, I feel like that's just as complicated. You know, kindergarten was hard for both of us.
I'm sure.
That's why it's Dev.
That's why it's Dev. I'm glad that the Gates incident came up with that hit and something unique happening during a game. I mean, I know you're professional. You call the game. You're doing your job, but you're watching sports. Insane things happen. Have you ever come close to just forgetting? Oh wait, I'm supposed to be calling this right now.
Well, like I said, I've been doing this a long time. I've been an announcer for as long as it was the day that they told me not to play anymore. So, I was a high school baseball player. I was on the cross country team. I wanted to try out for the basketball team. And one of my baseball teammates said, no, bro, do not try out for the basketball team, but become our announcer and announce us as if we're Michael Jordan at the old Chicago stadiums. I was in high school, playing baseball and running cross country. And then in the wintertime, I was saying like, and now, doing all that stuff. The craziest, the NYPD versus the FDNY ice hockey game at Madison Square Garden a couple of years ago. Okay. And the year before, it ended in a tie, and they had a shootout. And then I think it was decided in the shootout, and I'm not much of a hockey guy, but I guess hockey purists don't like shootouts because they don't consider it like the real end of the game. Like it doesn't really determine the winner or whatever. So they changed the overtime rules for the next year where I'm announcing no shootouts. So they have meetings and not Zooms. I don't think Zoom was around yet, but we're conference calls. All right, here's the overtime rules. But it was Dwayne Wade's farewell tour. Playing the Heat were in town to play the Knicks at 7:30 at night. This FDNY NYPD ice hockey game's at noon. I announced with the Dropkick Murphys, I did a boxing show the night before in Boston. So I slept for a couple hours. I got up real early in the morning. I'm at Madison Square Garden at 9 a.m. or something like that. Like 4 a.m. on the road, and like I'm at Madison Square Garden at 9 a.m. Dropkick Murphys shipping up to Boston and all that. So they run a little boxing company too out of Boston. I think we were at like the House of Blues or something the night before. I'm in the ring, couple hours of sleep. I'm at the Garden. And so are 20,000 other people. It was $5 tickets and of course like $20 beers. But because they paid $5 a ticket, like every off-duty firefighter and police officer and their families and their children are at the Garden, and everybody who's of age is just crushing $20 beers. So the clock is ticking, and I'm down on the I'm in the between the penalty boxes announcing the hockey game, and I see that we're getting we're tied. Bunch of fights, only a few goals, and we're headed into the second overtime and we're still tied. And I'm like, well, this isn't going to end in a shootout. And we're kind of getting close to it was like a 2:30 curfew. Like everybody had to leave because they had to, take the boards and the dashers and all that stuff down. And then they got to bring in the floor panels, and they got to put the hardwood down, in the sections. And then they got to put the baskets up and flip they got to flip everything around in time for a basketball game that night. And Dwayne Wade's farewell tour game at Madison Square Garden. So the game ends up being tied. The whole building, again, like 5 or 6 fights, 4 total goals, let's say, like 2-2. We're done with the second overtime. And I'm getting in my earpiece like, hey, you got to announce Appendix Z. And I was like, I don't want to announce Appendix Z. And they were like, you have to flipped through and announced Appendix Z, and I was like, I think I'm just going to slip out the back and not announce it. So I open up Appendix Z and I go, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your attendance today at Madison Square Garden. This game has ended in a tie. Everyone needs to exit Madison Square Garden in orderly fashion. Please stand up. Slowly and carefully proceed to the exits. We appreciate your support of the NYPD and the FDNY. The building has to be turned over for the Knicks versus the Heat tonight at 7:30. I got booed by 20,000 people at Madison Square Garden instantaneously. Booed, just straight up booed. Just like I was lucky not to get a rain of plastic cups and stuff like that into my booth, but I think nobody knew where I was actually sitting. But yeah, Appendix Z is the time where I wanted to bail out and pretend I wasn't the announcer. Pretend I wanted to go and get a $20 beer and kind of forget the ending. Yeah, exactly. Hey, who said that? Go get it.
Guys, guys over here speak my language. Calling hockey games for firefighters. My father was a DC firefighter, and talking about drop kick again tied into my family. I have a 17-year-old son. I started.
Amazing.
Let's see y'all.
Yeah. How good of a babysitter is he? Because I got work out here in Annapolis.
Actually, he's really good when he's motivated. It's the motivation part that is hit or miss. But
DMs are open again.
I can't complain though. I came home and he had dinner ready, and I was like, "Good for you, kid."
Amazing.
His first concert, he was 9 years old, and I took him to go see Dropkick.
Amazing. Where at? Do you remember where?
Yeah, it was actually at the Snowshoe Resort in West Virginia. They have their spring break spring break line of concerts. They call it Ball Hooter. So it was outdoors at a ski resort where they have like an enclosed area with a little amphitheater kind of deal. And it's
wow.
I'm holding him up so he can stand over to see over the crowd, and he's fist pumping and he's having a great time. And it's about me, him, other people we were with, and 1,500 drunk college kids.
That's sometimes how that goes. I mean, talk about a guy that brings the energy and intensity every night. Ken Casey is a real life rock star, the front man for
the
Dropkick Murphys.
That guy is insane.
I had my bachelor party on St. Patty's Day in the ring at the House of Blues in Boston, and it was fights. I know I was announcing, so it was fights, and it was drinks, then fights, then announcing. Then they play like kind of an acoustic set, like on the front of the stage, and then more drinks, and then more announcing in the main event and all that stuff, and then we were out of there. But yeah, all my guys came from upstate New York, from down here in Maryland, and from New York City and Chicago and other places. We had a great time at the Dropkick Murphys. It was awesome.
Insane.
St. Patty's Day and the House of Blues in Boston. Fights, concert. Yeah, it was good. It was good. We could get Dev up for that.
Yeah.
Dev, I don't know. See, Dev's don't let Dev's beats fool you. Dev's got a very unique taste in music at times. Like he'll drop something on you and like, really? You listen to that? Cool.
Yeah,
well, I think you guys may not know this. I mean, in terms of fans, but we were talking offline before. Dev created the intro track.
That's right.
For this podcast, which I think is the dopest out of all the Commanders podcasts, and
thank you.
Out of most of the podcasts that I heard, I kind of like the smart list thing. It's kind of like this 8-bit, like kind of like almost like a 80s video game type of thing. But you're the track that you mixed, and I have not heard the original one from your original version, but the track that you mixed that opens this show it's awesome. It's a great track. It's awesome.
Yeah, and a short plug for Dev, if you are watching this, Dev's link to his Spotify will be down in the YouTube description, so please go check him out. Support our
check him out.
Appreciate it.
Now, one other thing, since you're been a DMV guy, you're an NY guy, as far as you observe the fan behavior, you feed off of the crowd energy. Obviously, anybody who does this, you have to feed off the crowd. And there is this weird NY versus DC area thing. What is the difference between an NY crowd and a DMV crowd? What's a New York crowd versus a DMV crowd? what's the difference in energy that you sense between them?
Well, I think, or maybe I focus on the more of the similarities. And I said this in the 2K video that we watched a little bit of too. I think both New York fans and DC fans are really smart. I think their understanding of time, score, and momentum is elite. I think it's at an elite level. Like some people are just happy to be there. Like, you know, DMV crowds and New York City crowds, they're critical, and they're critical. I don't mean in a negative way. I mean they're very aware of game time situations and you know, kind of, you know, what's happening and what's appropriate, and they're kind of like, they know when to be on the edge of their seats. They're not just being spoon-fed stuff. Like they're going to be active participants. So I mean, I think that's kind of like a similarity. There was an announcer for an NBA team that would try to get the crowd. You're down, like, you know, down 30 in the third quarter or something like that, and he's trying to get everybody pumped up for like an out of bounds, like a change of possession or something like that. And like that sort of thing might fly in, like, you know, different areas or different places, but you know, in a place like DC or like a place like New York, like that's, you know, you're going to get kind of clowned out of there. And that's, you know, again, that's why, you know, again, this is one of the prestigious franchises that there are, all of sports. And I'm a new fan, right? I'm new. I'm a rookie. And that's why putting in the work and being authentic and letting you guys, you know, kind of feel like that, the real energy that I have that's one of my goals for this. You know, to be able to kind of convey that.
I'm definitely glad to hear it. I mean, that's very complimentary of both fan bases, and I like that. And I just want to note that any Philly fans listening, Terrence,
we did not mention the Philly fans in this, did we? No, we left them out of that conversation.
We're elite. We're elite. You're not.
Right. Capital E.
You're not. So I have bad experience in Philly. I've detailed it on a previous pod, actually being at the link. So yeah,
lots of good comfort food in Philly though. So if you're, you know,
that
if you have a
wasn't
bad day
good.
in Philly,
we had diabetes.
I paid $16 for the driest cheesesteak I've ever had, and that was $16 in 2015. So you know it's $22 now.
Did you go to Pat's or Gino's or
no?
One of the other tourist traps?
I thought, I'm going to be smart. I'm going to go to one of these food trucks outside the stadium because I'm always hearing about food trucks are the way to go. That's what Philly people tell me.
So I do a lot of fights in Philly and Atlantic City, and I'm a boxing ring announcer, and I do some a little bit of MMA, but in addition to, you know, the team sports, which I love doing, I love putting on the tuxedo and getting into the ring and doing that. So I've spent a bunch of time in Philly. Philly fight fans are also, I mean, they're great. I can't speak to their other sports fans. I won't speak to their other sports fans. However, we are owned by the owner of a Philly team. I'm sure their fans are outstanding and in a class all their own.
Yes,
but
you have to be a little more diplomatic than I have to be. But I never said anything about the Sixers, so we're good.
and neither did I, except for the point where I was really complimentary a second ago. But yeah, no, lots of really great stuff.
Wants to go to the Knicks. That's what I'm hoping.
For the Wizards.
Dev,
nobody wants to go to the Wizards, bro. Nobody wants to go to the Wizards.
We're rebuilding the Wizards. We love the Wizards.
We're rebuilding.
I'm telling you, Dev, watch that G Wiz video from mascot halftime the other day. Major Tutty and G Wiz are gonna leave a tattoo.
The Wizards
leave a stamp on her.
Yeah.
He is. And he's outstanding. And he did a great job in Mascot Mayhem Hall of halftime the other day.
Yeah. Is he a wizard?
Right. I don't think so.
He kind of reminds me of a Sesame Street character, like
he's like a bit of a blue monster,
like Grover.
But he's no bigger.
You'd have
taller.
to
like Grimace. By the way, what is Grimace?
Like, he wears a wizard's hat. He wears a wizard's hat. Grimace is not a wizard or a commander.
I don't know what Grimace is.
He's kind of just he's like, if you eat too much McDonald's, you turn into a Grimace. I think that's the deal.
Dev always asks the tough questions, and we always have to try to like answer it. It's like, oh, come on, Dev.
Yeah, no, 50,000 feet questions all the way from Dev, which I love.
Last question here, from your experience and perspective is, so you kind of already hit a little bit of the team announced they were doing $40 million in infrastructure upgrades very recently, and you announced you told us about the new speaker systems being on the top ring of the 400 level. two-part question is, do you know of any future planned renovations for the infrastructure, if you're allowed to tell us? And two, and if you were king for a day and you had access to all that, what would it be, in your experience and, working the boards, working the all that stuff, what should it be, or what could they do in your eyes?
Well, so I think some of the things have already been done. It's obviously, the press release went out about the $40 million in upgrades and improvements a couple of weeks ago, but obviously they started those improvements and upgrades in the, kind of throughout the off season. So in addition to more speakers, the sound system has been completely redone. It sounds a lot different, a lot clearer, a lot louder. If you're me, if you're Janine, who's on the field as the host, the music itself, right? If Dev mixed up a beat that we played in the stadium there, like it would hit really hard and really sharp. Like it sounds a lot better. The boards, I've been told that the video boards are slightly bigger, but they're also a lot sharper. So those are some improvements. And then I was there today, Thursday before game days, we do a run through of all the marketing elements, kind of with the sales team and the advertising people, to make sure, all the logos and ads and spots and stuff like that, all the bill paying elements, right, are going to be sharp on game day. So I go in on Thursday for a couple hours and a couple different members of the event presentation team. And like I said, I was feeling the sound system from the first day. I thought I sounded like Metallica or Beastie Boys or something. That sounded great. But even today, like when I walked in, like there's a lot of new, even since the Bengals game, like there's like different kind of like logo wraps and stadium stuff and tributes to, Super Bowl teams of the past, and like kind of like the ring around the field, like the lower bowl, like kind of in the infield area, like that's all done for like the welcome home week in the NFL and with the Commanders. There's a lot of things that you'll see visually that weren't even there, like 10 days ago or whenever we were there for the Bengals preseason scrimmage. So I think there's a lot of that. I know DJ Cool. I know you guys touched on this, I think, with your draft show. I think you guys were reading that. So I don't want to be redundant for your fans, but in case anybody listens to this between now and opening day, and I imagine a number of people will, there's a pre-show in SeatGeek's Legends Plaza. So I think there's going to be some Washington Commander legends there. I know that they're doing the, kind of the Commander show. I know they're shooting that live, and you can be there. You can be around that with Julie Donaldson and the fellas, or they're going to be there. DJ Cool's going to be there. Let me clear my throat. All that stuff that takes it way back to my college days. I think that was on our basketball team's mix, the warm up mix, and we saw a lot of DJ Cool this past Wizards season too, because they were doing 25 years. So. Kind of took it back to those bronze and blue uniforms when Jordan and, during the Jordan era, when he was on the Wizards, and Gilbert Arenas and all those, Anton Jameson and Caron Butler and all those. We had those guys back a bunch of times.
Our little mini big three we had.
Yeah, exactly. So now you'll get to see DJ Cool. They're doing a lot of things to really, and then you guys mentioned this also on your podcast, but the entry points. Getting people in and out of the stadium a lot easier. I think they've made some big improvements there. And I think the food has been upgraded a great deal. And maybe the beer price is subsidized up until the up until kickoff or whatever. I think there's like $6.75
or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, something 6 and change, 6 and change domestic beer offerings. I think are available. I will, of course, I'm a professional and will not partake in anything of the sort until well after the post game. But you guys certainly should and can take advantage of that sort of thing. Get your game day attitude and energy and carbs in, so you're ready to make a lot of noise. But yeah, they've done a lot of things. Some of the things I think are already in. Some of the things were in before the preseason. Some of the things have been done since, and then some of the things I think will take a little bit more time. But I think you guys will see that. I think you guys will notice changes and notice differences from what I understand. And, I think people will like them, but I'll leave it up to you guys to make decisions on that. I'll leave it up to you guys to make a decision if you guys think the rookie announcer is any good, or if he needs to go back to
I've already sampled
summer camp.
I'm good. You're already good in my eyes.
He's already given us the report on that. We actually, before he reached out to you, that is something that we had talked about. Like he said, he had mentioned that to be at the game. He says, he said the game day announcing is it's different. There's a different energy, So Steve picked up on this, before we even had reached out to you to come on, So it's something that was definitely noticed. I noticed it from my TV at home because I heard and I said, I'm staring at my TV, and at first it was just one of those things that because you got the announcers going and everything else, it's background noise to the game, to the announcers. But I'm like, what's different? I said something's different here that I'm missing, and I was like, it's the it's the game day announcing, it's the on the field announcing. That's what it is. Like I caught it. I was like, there's a different vibe here.
Yep.
So yeah,
I think my mom would appreciate that
through the TV.
One more quick question, technical question before we get to another question about the game, and then we'll wrap it up here. So when you're up in the booth, do you work a board or are you audio only? Are you mixing your audio with a soundboard, a digital soundboard, or someone else doing the soundboard and you're just doing audio? Or do you get to cue off?
There's an entire audio room with at least one A1. There might even be two. I think if there was two A1s in there, I think it would be kind of cancel the definition out of it, what an A1 is. But no, there's A1s and there's A2s throughout the stadium that are working on the sound system, and the A1 works on that mix. It's the same booth that DJ Premonition's in and DJ Jealousy. So those guys are in that booth. They're actually next to me. I'm on the very unique point of view for announcing a football game. I'm actually on the end zone, the back of the end zone line, and I'm kind of looking out at the game, kind of like a little bit to the right, which unique perspective. Hey, I'm like I said, I'm having a great time. And
locker room side or other side?
Tunnel side or other? Out. Yeah, tunnel side. So when the team comes running out, they come running out in the tunnel right in front of me, like right where I am.
Yeah, I've seen the videos on Twitter, and I actually I was that's something I forgot to ask till you brought it up. I remember thinking about that when I was watching videos. I said that's usually you think of the announcer being in the center press box area, right around the 50-yard line. You would think that they would have that perspective. That's where they sit. But when I saw the picture, I was like, wow, he's way over in the end zone.
Yeah.
It caught me off guard.
It's different, but there's free Reese's, so I don't complain. It's awesome. We're having a great time. We're doing great, and there's free Reese's. I mean, what's better than that?
I'm interested. So we have we interview one of the Philly beat reporters. His name is Jimmy Kemsky. He's one of the great ones who interviews. He does the Philly voice, and he does this thing where he rates all the stadium press foods. So I can't wait to see what his ratings are this year for the team after they've improved their food choices. Hopefully they've improved their food choices, not just for the concourse, but for the press, the media, and all those things behind the scenes. So that's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a little thing, but my season tickets were right on the corner there. 214. We used to have season tickets, not anymore, but we were right over the tunnel on that left side. So you were probably right there.
You guys will have to tweet your locations when you're in your seats on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll do.
And Dev, when you're gonna have to listen for me. You're gonna have to strain to listen for me through Adam Amin's beautiful voice on Sunday, because he's one of the best. I've known him since he was kind of when he was a Big East play-by-play guy.
I'm a Louisville guy, so I remember.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
my guy Kenny Klein is a big Louisville guy. He's
the
SID at Louisville. He's one of my great friends. And Adam Amin is another guy that I've been really close with for a number of years, ever since he kind of got his start in the Big East, and when I was at St. John's doing the communications staffing, doing that job. So you'll have to strain through, because Adam, I do. I love the Big East also. I love the ACC. I loved it when Maryland was in the ACC. Everything's different now, and everything's about to change even more. But it's still
we're going to the Big Ten. I can see it happening. I think that's going to happen. I want to go to the SEC if we leave. I mean, why not? UK's in there.
Guys, I think we're breaking news on the Command This podcast. I think Dev's coming in with people at Louisville. I think he knows they're making a move.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see how things shake out. I mean, I kind of look at it maybe from a little bit different lens, because I've been close for 20 something years with so many college student athletes, and certainly I worked in the business there as the full-time staffer for 15 years. So I know when things change, that's people's jobs, that's people's livelihoods, that's people's families, that's maybe making moves, in an industry that's kind of, filled with transition all the time anyway.
Yeah.
But I also appreciate it, because it's a beautiful thing to see so many people get opportunities to either play, whether it's football or basketball, or whether it's, I worked with field hockey teams and softball teams, and I loved those student athletes, and I'm still close with a lot of those student athletes because they were out there on game days and practice days, given everything that they had. I mean, again, how can you not love or respect that? Inspired me, makes me want to work hard and do a good job too, in what my role is, as small as it is. But
Fantastic.
it's the landscape will change, but at its core, it'll still be, student athletes getting opportunities, people that are working, full time in the field getting opportunities, and announcers getting opportunities, and athletic trainers, and strength coaches, and bus drivers, and everybody's got their role to play. Everybody's got their piece, So it's I tend to focus more on that stuff than the stuff that I can't control. Right.
Yeah.
Very true.
So before we shut this down, Mark, we're going to talk one quick football thing, because we normally do a pregame preview, but we've been lucky enough to have.
And I've burned through all of your time.
No, this is fantastic, Mark. We would not change this for the world. This is the insight to the team that we don't get. So you have no idea how fantastic this is, and an experience this is for us. So we will cherish this moment for a very, very long time.
You have to realize you're talking to the right
idea.
guys for this type of thing, because we have conversations about, like, amongst ourselves, even about these types of things and all that. Whereas everybody else in their group chats and so forth, they, a lot of them talk about just the playing stuff that you see on TV, the game and everything else. And we kind of nerd out on all that inside stuff. Like, we look at all that like, oh, that's neat. Oh, they're doing this. That's different. Yeah. And just in casual conversation amongst ourselves. So for us, this is a huge treat.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys ever want to get in the weeds or talk about minutia or talk about whatever, like I said, you guys have my info. So
yes,
let's. I'll answer any questions you guys have if I can.
And so we still want to hear your opinions on these things, but I'll start with you, Dev, real quick. So we'll do two things, 2 for 1 as we go down the line. So Commanders win if, and your score predictions, and then we'll close it out. So Dev, let's start with you. What?
Y'all want to start with me? Or
yeah, start with you, man. Let's go.
I'm
Commanders win if, and your score prediction. But before we do that, listen, the spread on DraftKings is -7, and the over-under is 38. So that's kind of your baseline, at least what Vegas is thinking about, a 7-point spread and 38 over-under. So, whatever you're kind of working with, you can go off those numbers. And if you just to give you another second, so I'll go first. So I think the Commanders are going to win 24-14, and I think the Commanders win if the defense comes to play, and that we can actually make, we have a hardcore defense with John Allen and Deron Payne, those hardcore guys, all those 4 first-round picks. And if we can bring our defense to bear on this Cardinals team who's professionally tanking for the first-round pick, we should win this game easily, 24-14. The team covers the spread. We make a push on the over-under at 38. That's just what I'm thinking. So I got 24-14 Commanders. Okay. Anybody else want to go?
I got it for you.
Okay, go ahead.
Commanders win if Eric Bieniemy's got this offense running right. Sam Howell goes out there and does what we think Sam Howell can do. Running game, eats up the clock, the receivers making the catches, the lines protecting. I'm not worried about the defense. So the game hinges on the offense, because the offense last year was not very dynamic. It won by ball control. This offense can still control the ball. They got that same talent, but they have some more dynamic pieces and more dynamic play calling. So if the offense is right, we win. And I think they will be. And this is almost feels like, Alabama playing the Little Sisters of the Poor, the way that the Cardinals are trying to tank. That being said, this isn't college. These are all professionals out there. So it's not going to be some, 90-0 blowout. But I do see us winning 31-13.
Ooh,
a palindrome.
That's a big one.
That's it. It's going to be. I classify 17
Definitely
points or
college
more
time.
as a blowout. It will be a blowout.
All right. Have you ready? You want Mark to go?
Yeah, I'll go 28-14. Washington, good guys, as I call them.
Yep.
I think we win. Washington wins if the offensive line gels and does their thing, man. You know, what's Sadiq?
Sadiq.
Charles.
Yeah.
Dev's been waiting for Sadiq Charles to become a star.
You know, if they hold up, I think the only thing that we could do to lose the game is if Arizona doesn't show up and they make us like forfeit the game. I feel like Arizona just wants to lose the game. Like they're doing everything possible to, we're gonna lose this game. Because I think they want, you know, some college guys in the draft next year.
Fair.
So I think we'll rattle.
Caleb Williams. I don't know. Mark, what you got?
Well, I don't want to detract from this discussion, but I watched all the orientation videos on personnel and stuff like that, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to. I don't want anything that I say to be taken as like. I mean, I don't have much better insight than I don't have much better insight than you know the fans do or what media reports have been or anything like that. But I do think the Commanders are going to win. What I'm really excited about is just it counts for real, right? So I'm excited to see everybody. I'm excited to see the starting defense. I'm excited to see the starting offense. I'm excited to see the strides that everybody made during camp and see the improvement. And I'm excited to see 60,000 plus of y'all just fired up and ready to go on Sunday. It's I can't even tell you how. I've tried to describe it in several different ways, but I'm really excited. I'm excited to see everybody. I'm absolutely fired up about what Sunday could bring for the team, for all of its fans and supporters, and for the rookie announcer. I think I'm going to have a heck of a good time too. So I'm excited about everything.
We cannot wait. So Phil and I will be in the red zone lot. We'll be a part of the Hog Farbers and Command Corner tailgate party. I think we're going to try to roll in around 8 a.m. So we will be there bright and early. I think we have over 900 people who've already RSVP'd to be a part of the larger tailgate crew. So get there early. Food and drink is limited while supplies last.
You need to get there. You need to get there, Mark. Get your plate. Get you some diabetes.
I'm
going to call it in the hood sugar.
I'm going to be inside the stadium at 8 a.m.
Okay,
already.
Fantastic.
So I think we're walking through, running through. We're having meetings and rehearsals and stuff like that with more of a full crew than we have. The Thursday crew's kind of light, like. But we'll have the full crew in early on Sunday morning, making sure that we can, again, put in that work and give you guys a great show. So you guys you'll hear me booming out those big speakers early on Sunday morning. So if I'm too loud, if I'm too loud, text me and we'll turn it down a little bit.
Nah, crank it up. Let's see that new infrastructure upgrades. Mark, we want to thank you so much for your taking the time out of your busy schedule and your rehearsals and your family to just come sit down and talk football and your experience with like I said before, this is truly a monumental occasion for us to be talking to someone who's going to be part of this new era that we're stepping off into. And as fans, like I said, we just couldn't be more happier and we are extremely impressed with your background. I'm already impressed with what you've shown so far, and I just can't wait to see how this is going to progress further. So we truly thank you for everything, and we can't wait for an exciting season and to take this journey with you as well. So
please. I mean, what an amazing thing that we're all about to start on Sunday. I'm fired up about it. I got my burgundy and gold I got dunks for Sunday, so I got some burgundy and gold dunks.
Yeah, I saw
that
the
I'm
drip.
ready to do.
Looking slick.
I got the rotation going. Somebody was telling me about the Nike custom site and trying to get a little bit closer to that burgundy.
That was our boy Juan. I saw that Juan.
Yeah, cool. Yep. So that's a great tip. That's something that I didn't know. So trying to find this right the Pantone, the burgundy Pantone color on the Nike site has been kind of tough. But I have a rotation of 4 or 5 different pairs that we're going to go with. I'll be sure to post them every week, so you guys get a little preview. And I'm looking to add to the collection. So if anybody's got any hot tips on the burgundy and gold Jordans or dunks or whatever, what you got, Dev?
You're muted.
You're muted, Dev.
You got what I had
If
earlier.
you need shoe advice, you might want to hit up old girl that we had, Donaldson.
I'm sorry, come back again on that.
I said you might want to hit up Julie if you want some shoe advice.
Yeah, we had Julie on a long time ago, and she gave us some good shoe advice.
She's
very
okay.
Julie's very, very into
Julie
fashion.
Julie Donaldson knows her kicks.
That's right.
I'll stop at that SeatGeek Legends Plaza, and I'll see her early. But
there we go.
These are the ones I wore them for rehearsal, right? Like you practice, like you play.
Oh, sick. Sick.
So I wore these to rehearsal today. So these will be the game day shoes on Sunday. Gotta play how you practice, right? And practice how you want to play.
Absolutely.
So for rehearsal today, I got that going.
Yep. And for those listening, we thank you for tuning in. As always, you can find this show on YouTube or any of your audio podcast platforms. Just search for Commanders Podcast and you will find us. Please go follow Mark on Twitter at Linacre Media. Am I saying that right, Mark? LINACRE Media. Am I pronouncing that correct?
That's close enough. Okay. There's only one person that has to pronounce everything correctly on this one, and don't worry about it. You're good. You're very close.
So give Mark a follow on Twitter. He is our new voice of the Washington Commanders, and we are so ecstatic that he took time out of his evening to join us. So thank you for tuning in. As always, we love you guys. Peace and hail. We're out.